Being president is the most dangerous job in the world. 4 out of 43 presidents were killed on the job: Abraham Lincoln, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy. On top of that, both Theodore Roosevelt and Ronald Reagan were shot, but survived. So Donald Trump isn't president yet, but it is blatantly obvious he is the most polarizing and divisive candidate ever to run for the office. No other presidential candidate has stirred up so much emotion, hate, and violence as the Donald. For this reason, I believe he is in grave danger of being assassinated in the near future. Protesters have even resorted to violence against Trump supporters on many occasions.
Oh shit, he's running. Trump's coming out.
Yeah, he should be good.
You didn't say anything to anybody? You were just walking out, or what?
I was walking out with a Trump sign. They grabbed my Trump sign and started following me, saying I was like a racist and stuff.
This is insanity to say the least. Trump protesters are going out of their way to assault people just because they believe something different than they do. How seriously fucked is this country if you can't go out and share your beliefs for fear of being attacked? You really have to ask the question, if protesters are already attacking Trump supporters, what are they willing to do to Trump, especially if it seems like he'll be our next president? I'm sure there are many people out there who would like to see him dead, and you can be sure there's someone psychotic enough out there to actually do it. And you have to remember all the violence you just saw was happening during the primaries. Just imagine the madness of the general elections. Going off that, the media's portrayal of Donald Trump has been warranted at times when he says something stupid, but a good portion of it has been unfair and certainly biased. Not only has it been unfair, but the comparisons and similarities associated with Donald Trump are downright dangerous and possibly threatening to his life. Let me show you.
So I had one of Hitler's speeches translated into English, and I think this tells us a lot about where Donald Trump is getting his ideas. Look at this Hitler speech, and we've translated it for you. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to make Germany great again. That I can tell you, believe me.
Go for anger.
Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler?
If you look at what's happening in with Donald Trump and his playing to the lowest common denominator and to the anger in us, you know, Adolf Hitler, we all look at Adolf Hitler in 1940. We should look at Adolf Hitler in 1929. He was a kind of a funny kind of character that said the things that people were thinking.
He's going to take that nation back to the old days of conflict, war, and everything. I mean, he remembers me of Hitler.
These are only a few of the many times Donald Trump has been compared to Hitler. And of course, who's bringing more publicity to this nasty comparison? Mainstream media like CNN, Fox News, CBS, the New York Times, and many others. The argument that Trump is somehow the next Hitler is so disgusting and insulting to the descendants of people who died in the Holocaust. How is he comparable to Hitler at all? Does he plan to set up concentration camps and kill 6 million Jews while in the office of president? Of course not. But the argument itself shows just how disgraceful and shameless some people are becoming in order to try and ensure that Trump does not win the presidency. Not only is the comparison a repulsive accusation, the media is also making Trump an even bigger target for an assassination. They're almost giving a free pass to anyone who does kill Trump. Otherwise, he's going to be the next Adolf Hitler. That anybody who does assassinate Trump will be the hero who prevented the next Hitler and the next Holocaust. In this day and age, people are so desperate to be recognized and important, especially if their whole life has been just the opposite of that. Psychopaths who feel like they've been denied importance their whole life may see assassinating Trump as their path to greatness and recognition among the millions of people who hate him. To most people, it's obviously just a tasteless comparison, but there are still tons of people out there who have been indoctrinated into the idea that Trump must be killed. Just look at the thousands of people who every day plead and beg for someone to assassinate Trump. This is just a fraction of what is said every day on social media, and the hashtag #KillTrump has also become more commonplace on Twitter. How long until someone decides to take matters into their own hands and assassinate Trump, thinking they're doing the world a favor by killing the next Hitler and thereby receiving praise from the mass of people on social media calling for his death? I also strongly believe an assassination by a crazy person is definitely not the only threat Donald Trump faces. He is the first anti-establishment candidate who is not a career politician like the rest of them, especially considering the fact that he's a billionaire. He can't be bought out like Hillary, posing a big problem to the titans of industry and the ruling elite. And when was the last time we had a president like that? Yep, John F. Kennedy. Now, by no means am I comparing Kennedy's unshakable honesty and integrity to that of Trump's, as they are definitely worlds apart, but the fact remains that Trump can't be bought out, the same as JFK. And I may turn some people off by saying this, but I absolutely believe John F. Kennedy was murdered by people in positions of power within the government, working in collusion with titans of industry. JFK wanted to pull out all the troops from Vietnam, end the arms race with the Soviet Union, and smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces. He pissed off a lot of people, and in the end was killed for his desire to put an end to the military-industrial complex. Military defense contractors, bankers, oil giants, and the CIA all had so much to gain from his death, and so much to lose from him continuing to be president. I'm not going to go into any more detail concerning the reasons behind his assassination and how they went about doing it, but if you don't believe me, take it from President Eisenhower.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
Bringing this whole thing back full circle, I believe Donald Trump has said a lot of crazy things, but I also believe that he does not want more war or involvement in conflicts that have nothing to do with us. Let's take a look at this interview of Trump before he started running for president.
How do they get out? You know how they get out? They get out. That's how they get out. Declare victory and leave. Because I'll tell you, this country is just going to get further bogged down. They're in a civil war over there, Wolf. There's nothing that we're going to be able to do with a civil war. They are in a major civil war.
The Donald is not being paid off by any oil companies, defense contractors, or bankers who want the military-industrial complex to keep going as it has for almost a century now. I strongly believe the ruling elite are very scared of him, just like they were of JFK. On top of all this, Trump has promised to declassify the 28 secret pages of the 9/11 Commission, an act that could prove extremely troublesome to many people. Once you start to put everything together, it is clear that he has already made a number of very powerful enemies, and he could potentially cost billions to people who have been paying off politicians for decades. With all this said, an assassination is definitely in the realm of possibility to ensure he doesn't become president or only stays in the position for a very short period of time. Whatever the case, Donald Trump is without a doubt the most hated man in America right now. So he better keep wearing that bulletproof vest. Thanks for watching the video. Please click like if you enjoyed it and subscribe. And in a couple of days, I'll be putting out a Hillary Clinton video. I've been doing a ton of research into her, and some of the stuff I found is just absolutely insane.